So our next step before we move on to making the base for our ghost is to add our eyes. Now where we've got the tail coming out, I tend to class that as the back, so I'm going to turn that one around so that one's at the back and this is the front of the project. It's actually upside down, we need it this way. So we need to count down and we're going to put the eyes between rows 8 and 9. This first circle here, that is row 1. And then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So your eyes will go along here. I'm just going to put my hook through just to create a marker to remember where that is. And I can see where that circle is. I also know that I've got that line coming out the back there. So this row here is around the middle because it lines up with the back just here. I do actually need 6 stitches in between my eyes. Now one of these squares is 1 stitch, so where I've made that hole, if I go 3 spaces to the right of it, my first eye is going to go through here, and there's the original hole, 1, 2, 3 to the left, make another gap, and so I need to put an eye in here and 1 in here, and they will be 6 squares or 6 stitches apart. So my first, I'm going in through and just push that one through the best as you can to the other side. I now need, I've put that in the wrong space. So I'll pick up my first eye and I'm going in through that left hole to begin with and just push it through so that it comes out the other side. And then if you can't see your, I can see my tiny hole there, but you make sure again that you're, so that one's number 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0. The hole is just there. So I'm going in through just here and pushing that one through and your eyes should look like so. So now that your eyes are in, I will turn that one inside out slightly to put the backs on. Need to put that one over it and push hard. This is probably the most fiddly job of the whole project. That one's actually broken, but that'll do. Next one. There we go. So your backs are on your eyes. And now we can pick up our yarn and it's time to make the base for our ghost. So let's move on to round 1 of the base. So to make the base, we need to make another magic circle. So again, yarn over the front of your hand, yarn down the back of your fingers, over the front, down the back again, and turn your hand, and then make a cross with your yarn. Use your ring finger to hold the yarn down. Pick up your hook, hook facing downwards, under the top right of your cross, and drag across the top left, and then turn your hook towards you so that it looks like that on your hook. And here's where we pick up the top left again of the cross and pull it through the loop that's on our hook. Pick out your non-working yarn from the centre of your circle. And we're going to do 4 rounds here, and they're pretty much exactly the same as what we've already done when we started the ghost. So to begin with, you want to do 6 single crochets US terms or 6 double crochets UK terms into the circle. So go in through, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, there's 1. Pick up a loop, yarn over, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now once again we need to close the circle, so we pull on the short end slowly so that it doesn't curl up. I've had that happen before, it was very frustrating. So there's the end of round 1 of the base. Round 2 of the base, just like with the ghost, we've got 6 stitches so far, and we need to do 2 in every stitch, so we've got 12 at the end. So if you turn your work so you're looking at the side of it, you'll see your first V just there. So put your hook in through to pick up both of those loops. And we've done 1 and then back into the same stitch. There's 2, 2 in the next, 3 and 4, 2 in the next, 5 and 6, 2 in the next, 7 and 8, 2 in the next, 9 and 10, 2 in the next, 11, and in the same stitch 12, and that's the end of round 2 of the base. For round 3 of the base, we want to do 2 in the next and then 1 single one in the one after, 2 in the next, single in the one after, so you end up with 18 stitches at the end of the round. So 2 in the next, 1 and 2, and then a single in the next, 3, 2 in the next, 4, 5, 1 in the next, 6, 2 in the next, 7, 8, 1 in the next, 9, 2 in the next, 10, 11, 1 in the next, 12, 2 in the next, 13, 14, 1 in the next, 15, 2 in the next, 16, 17, 1 in the next, 18, and you've completed round 3 at the base. Round 4 of the base is 2 in the next, then a single, 2 in the next, a single and a single, all the way around until you reach 24 stitches. So 2 in the next, 1, 2, and then 2 singles, 3 and 4, 2 in the next, 5, 6 and 2 singles, 7 and 8, 2 in the next, 9 and 10, 2 singles, 11, 12, 2 in the next, 13, 14, 2 singles, 15 and 16, 2 in the next, 17, 18, 2 singles, 19 and 20, and the last set, 2 in the next, 21, 22 and 2 singles, 23 and 24. Now we can add our base to our ghost. So I've got my ghost just here, and I'm just going to use my needle just to point it out. You can see we've got the frill round that we did here to provide the frill at the bottom of the ghost. But then you've also got a line going all the way around here. Now that line is left because they are loops that we are going to be working into, because where we did this line of the frill at the base, we only did it into one loop. It left us a whole circle of back loops to join our base to. So these are the ones that we're going to be working into. We don't need to remove our yarn from our hook because we are going to be continuing straight on. Now this is probably the trickiest bit of the video because we're joining two pieces together, which is something we didn't do for the pumpkin. We are going to be using slip stitches the whole of the way around. So on the base that we have just made, we're going to be going in to the back loop only. So I showed you before, you've got two loops of your stitch. The front, it's easier if I pick up my needle again, isn't it? The front loop is this loop just here, and the back loop is this one. So you would put your hook through like this and just work through the back loop. So that's what we're going to do to begin with. We know we've got 24 stitches here. We've got 24 stitches in the ghost as well. So this one will fit on just nicely, and we're going to do 24 slip stitches going all of the way around. So we'll just start off, go into your first stitch through the back loop. So just like so. I'm then going to lift up my ghost and make sure that the eyes are facing me because we want this to start off at the back. You can see that you've got your end here. So we will join, it's quite difficult when it's already on the hook, we will join the base in like so. So our first stitch is going to line up with that knot that we've got at the back where we tied off the ghost when we were working the frill at the base. You can see you've got those back loop stitches, and we're going to be going into this one. Just can you see that line going all the way across? Now that we've gone into the back loop of our base, we want to go into that stitch just there on our ghost. I'm then going to yarn over and pull my wool through the first two loops that are on my hook, and then pull it through the last one so it's slip stitched. Now that is actually now fastened together. We're going into the back loop of the base. Again, we're doing the same the whole of the way around. So I've got the back loop of the base, and then you can see your stitch just here on the ghost, and then I'm yarning over, pulling up a loop and pulling it through the loops that are on my hook. So now on to our third. So we'll pick up the back loop of our base and into the next loop of the ghost just here, and then we can yarn over and pull that loop all the way through into the fourth back loop and the next loop on our ghost, pull that one through, pull it through the loop that's on our hook. Back loop only of the base into the next loop on the ghost, pull that loop through all three loops that are on our hook, and then we're just keeping going in through the base, in through the next stitch on the ghost, and slip stitching that one all of the way around. And when we get to a certain point, we're going to fill our ghost with some stuffing. Just going to keep going and do a few more. I remember when I did this project initially just to see if it would work out, I did do 20 of these slip stitches before I added my stuffing, but because I'm talking I've lost count of how many I've done. So I'm not being very professional here, am I? But it doesn't matter when you do it, just as long as it's done. So you can see now I'm probably halfway, because I've gone halfway around. So that's about 12. Let's do another 6. What I am going to do is, you can see this end here that's poking off of the centre of our base. I'm just going to pull that one because there is a bit of a gap in the bottom of my circle there, just to tighten it. And I'm then going to thread and poke that yarn back in through, and then continue with my slip stitches. So carrying on, back loop of the base, and then the free loop on the ghost, pull it all the way through into the next, and then the next one, I'm going to do 2 more and then I'm going to stuff it. One, and 2. Right, let's now stuff our ghost. So before we stuff our ghost, I'm just going to make sure I pull up on that loop that my hook was in, just to make sure we don't lose our place. Now we need to poke the stuffing through the gap that we have got left. Now I know for the pumpkin that we didn't fill it up to its full capacity because we wanted it to keep like the flat shape on the bottom and on the top. With this one, you can fill this one as much as you need to, because the pattern has already made this one the shape that we want it. So I'm just going to finish off stuffing that one, and that's got enough for me now, I think. So we will finish off the rest of our round. So pull on that yarn again just to make a small loop that you can put your hook back into. And then we're finishing off the rest of the round exactly the same way as what we have been so far, by going in through the back loop of the base and then the spare loop that's on the ghost and pulling it through the loops that are on our hook. So there's 1, and it can get a bit more fiddly as it gets tighter. There's 2, 3, 4, and I've got 2 stitches left. You need to really pull out that ghost just so you can get into that loop. And now I've got 1 loop left on my base. Now I've got to really pull that one out to see the loop, spare loop on the ghost. There we go. And pull that one through, and you can now fasten that one off. We need to leave a tail that we can use to join our keyring. So I'm going to leave about 20 to 30 centimeters. And now we can go about adding our keyring. So now that my base is fastened off, this is how my ghost looks, and you can give it, now it's full and it's stuffed, you can give it a good prod just to push that base in and just to move all that stuffing around to make sure he's exactly as you want him to look. And then if you wanted to try and like work the frill down, so rather than it being like facing like this way, if you wanted to try and manipulate it so that it's always downwards like that, you can do. You could even use an iron to go over that just to hold that further down in place. So the long tail that we have just left, after sewing on the base, you want to thread it onto your needle, and I showed you a hack in the last video. Drape your yarn over your hook, squeeze as hard as you can, and just push that up through the hole in the needle. What we then want to do is we're going to go in through where your yarn is currently coming out of, and we want to come up through the center of the head. So we're going in through here and out. You've got to work all the way through your stuffing, so it can be a bit tricky. We're coming out through the middle of his head, just like so. So I'm going to pick up my keyring, and I'm going to go in through the last loop of that one. And I'm then going to continue, just like we did for the pumpkin, if you followed that video, is going through this middle stitch between the eyes at the top and out through the middle of his head, and then again back in through the last loop. Pull that tight. So I've done that once, and I want to do that 4 times. So there's number 2, 3, and 4. So we've done that 4 times. We're now going to go back in through this hole just here where we've been going in through, and then through the center of the base this time. And this time it's proven a bit tricky because all that stuffing's in the way. So there we go. I'll just pull that one up through. I had to do that off of camera because that took me quite a long time to do. Don't pull too hard on that one, because I'll show you, the more you pull, the more you're indenting is the top of his head. So make sure that one is the perfect shape that you want it, and then leave that yarn coming out of the bottom. We're now going to thread the other end, and this is the end of the frill. With that one, just go in through the side of your circle and again up through the center of your base, and we're going to tie off those 2 ends. Again, don't pull too tight, otherwise the side of your ghost is going to work its way inwards. So let's just tie these 2. Again, I'm so sorry about that noise on the table because it sounds awful. 1, 2, and 3. You can now cut those. I leave them about 1 centimetre long, and then I get the end of my needle, and you can just push that in through the centre of your circle. There we go. Those stitches are, that knot is working its way in through now. There we go. That's all pushed in through the base, and now we can go on to making a smile for our ghost. So I've got about 30 centimetres worth of black yarn, and I'm going to thread it onto my needle. And now we're going to do his smile. So we did our eyes 6 stitches apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We want to use the middle 2 stitches in between his eyes. So there's 1, 2 there, and then we've got the middle 2, and there's 1, 2 for where the last eye is. So we want to stitch the smile, the top of the smile, in line with the eyes. So I'm saying that we're using these holes just here, so left, middle and right. We're going in through the right of those 2 stitches, and we're coming out through the left. And pull that one, but leave enough of a tail so that we can sew that one in afterwards. We're then going back in through the same hole that we started with. So we're going back in through here, and we're going to come out through the middle of the row below. So we're going in through this one, and out through this one. And just pull that one slowly because we're going to form the smile. You can see a loop that's forming there. And then we're going to take our needle, go under that loop and over the top of it, and then if you bring your needle downwards, you can see you've got your smile forming. And if we don't pull too tight, you've got your curve just there. We're then going to go back in through the same hole that our thread is coming out of currently, and then out the centre of the base of our ghost. Again, if I can get it through. So out through that one, and don't pull too tight, otherwise you're going to lose the circle of his smile. So you can take your thread off of your needle, and now we're going to do the same with this side. Thread that one on the needle, and it can go back in through the same space, out through the centre of your base. Again, don't pull too tight. You can now tie these ends off and push them through the centre of your base. So last part that we need to do before we finished our ghost is to do the blush on the side of his cheeks. And this is a lot easier than doing it for the pumpkin on the video because you can actually see it this time. So we're going up through the base and we want to do the blush in the square here to the right of his eye, and over this side it will be this square here to the left of his eye. So go up through the base and you want to come out at the base of the square that I've just shown you, so the bottom left of it, just here, and pull that thread all the way through so you've left enough of a tail for knotting at the end. We're now going through the other side of that stitch in line with the one that we've just done, and then back across to the place that we've just come out of. So we're just creating a line like so, and you want to do that 4 times. So we've done it once, 2, you can do it as many times as you want to be honest. It's however thick you want the blush to be. There's 3, and 4. I'm now going to take my needle down through that same hole that we've just come out of, and I'm going to go into the square the opposite side so that it's symmetrical. So it'll be this one just here. So go in through and then again down the other side and just loop around that stitch 4 times again, and I'll see you when you've done that 4 times. Once you've done that 4 times, we're going back in through the same hole, up through the base of the ghost, and just knot those ends, tie them off and push them back in through your ghost to hide them. So we are officially done. We have completed our Halloween Kawaii Ghost Keyring. Isn't he adorable? So I also said I'd show you the plush. And how cute is he? I've used a slightly smaller yarn for this plush compared to the pumpkin, so he has come out a bit smaller. I would say he should have been a bit more plump than that, but he's still absolutely adorable, and I can't wait till I've got all my plushes finished so I've got a collection to display in my house over Halloween. So that has been the Halloween Kawaii Ghost Keyring, and I hope you've enjoyed making this one with me. Remember that this is a series. There are 5 parts to come. We've got another 3 keyrings to go, which are the cauldron, the candy corn and the skull face. So I hope you'll join us for the next keyring. Remember to leave a like on the video because it really helps me out when you do. It just makes sure that this video is seen by more people, and I really, really appreciate it. If you need any help, leave a comment under the video. If you need help in a specific area of the video, just leave a timestamp. So just put, for example, I got stuck at 18 minutes and 7 seconds, and then I can refer back to it and I can help you a lot easier. If you hit that subscribe button, you will receive a notification for when the next video is posted, which is especially useful when, of course, this is a series of keyrings and you need to know when the next one's out. And then if you like this video, I'll guess you like this one right here.